So this is probably my favorite boring topic there is, okay? We'll make this as fun as possible, if it is, right? But this part is very fun. That's fun for me. It should be fun for every single real estate agent, because I heard someone say a long time ago that what people really want in real estate is certainty as agents. And he goes, if you can become the certainty broker, if you will have a team that will always have agents wanting to come and hang out with you, right? And so I'm every day, every year trying to figure out how do we make Cook & Associates the certainty broker? And that's the idea, right? And we'll go through some things in here today regarding that. So we're gonna start with this. I'm sure some of y'all have probably seen this or at least heard about it. But Simon Sinek's Start With Why, that video. First of all, this is a TED Talk that he did in 2009, I believe. And it's titled Start With Why. So you can YouTube the whole thing. And after this or whatever, I wanna show you guys about 40 seconds, okay? To 60 seconds of the video here.
Explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do, 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Why do you get out of bed in the morning? And why should anyone care? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out.
Hope you guys caught that, because that's deep. I mean, it's an 18-minute video, and that arguably might be the best part. Organizations, no matter how big, no matter how small, start from the inside out, okay? Why should you get out of bed in the morning? Why should anyone care? That's something that I think a lot of people gloss over because it's like the touchy-feely stuff. But if you don't get that right, it's gonna be hard to commit. Why? Well, because real estate, last time I checked, real estate sales is hard. If you want to do it at a high level and you want to have a predictable business, it's hard. That's why. Because there are days you won't want to get out of bed. There are days you won't want to do it. Anybody can wake out of bed and say, I don't want to work, cool, but I'm going to go, and then go sit at a desk and check email. That's easy. The hard part is making the phone call when you know someone's going to probably reject you on the other line. The hard part is going to an open house, and when it's July, and setting out your open house signs, bringing 2 shirts because you're going to sweat through the first one, putting your open house signs out, and then going there for 4 hours. On a Saturday, when you have kids, maybe a spouse, and you'd rather be home doing something with them. That's the hard part. So your why you better be in tune with your why. Some of you guys don't know your why, and that's okay. But you should really take some time to think about your why. Real quick story, and this is a good one, guys. My sister's ex-brother-in-law, or my ex-brother-in-law, I guess, her ex-husband, he was a very successful guy financially. He was a stockbroker, financial advisor, etc. And I was in my early 20s, still coaching and wondering if that was for me, that kind of thing. He was very successful, making all kinds of money, country clubs, all this stuff. So I'm at his country club, and I was like 23, 24 down here one time. And I go, dude, how do I become you? And he goes, you don't want to become me. I go, no, how do I do that, right? Because I mean, I see everything you have, like this is amazing, right? Because some of us came from, just because you maybe came from a lot as a child doesn't mean you still don't want that. But if you came from very little, you really want that most of the time, right? So I really wanted that. And I was like, no, I do. And he goes, well, I don't think you do, but if you want to know the story, then here's the deal. I go, what's that? He goes, have you ever packed your dinner? I go, what? What are you talking about? He goes, you ever packed your dinner? I go, I don't know what that means. He goes, have you ever heard the saying, you better pack a lunch? I go, yeah. He goes, well, to get to where I am today, it took 5 years, not 5 months, of packing a dinner. Now, I still had to pack lunch, but when most people left at 4:30, 5 o'clock, 5:30, or even 6, I stayed in the office and I still made calls to prospects. I packed a dinner. And so, being 24, I was like, I don't really know, I think I get that, right? But he's like, so you don't want to sacrifice and do what I did, but that's okay, because most people won't. But I have what most people, in terms of possessions, would love to have. I have it. He goes, so until you get the mindset that you have to do other things or more than other people are willing to do, you don't want to be like me. I was like, wow, it's my brother-in-law, right? It's like, dude, I thought we were cool, man. I thought you liked me, you know? And so that's where the why comes from then, because his why was clearly very strong. Because at the time he had a couple small kids with his first marriage. It was his second marriage to my sister. And he's like, when I sacrificed doing this, I didn't see him, right? I didn't see him many, many nights because I would stay at the office. I was determined because I knew that at some point in the future, I would not have to do this anymore after I crossed the chasm. But that takes a while to build that bridge across that chasm. But I knew it was gonna happen. And I figured if I could do that when they're little and don't really understand what's going on and they won't remember if dad was gone a little bit, right? More than usual when they're like 2 or 3, then that's cool because when they're 11, when they're 9, when they're 14, they'll remember dad's gone. So one thing I do, just real quick, when I coach agents on my team, I've done this before in the past. So, you know, obviously I don't like say it more than once to them, but usually it only takes one time. So this actually happened just 2 or 3 weeks ago. There's an agent on my team who was like, you know, man, I want to do more, but I find myself like just taking the easy way out sometimes. Like I'll go golfing on Saturday, and then when I'm golfing, I feel kind of guilty about it because I could be doing an open house. I go, okay, well you're gonna have some of that all the time because as a residential real estate agent, you can be always doing something, right, 7 days a week. So it's healthy for most people to take some time off, but you got to plan around it. I go, but he goes, okay, yeah, it's good. He goes, but I just don't know how do I sacrifice? He has no kids, right? He's engaged or about to be engaged, and I go, well, if you want some motivation, here's what I'd like you to do. Do you want to have kids? Yeah, I do. Okay, cool. When you have kids, do you want to spend time with them? Yeah, I do. Okay. I go, now, do you want to ideally be doing open houses on the weekends, like Saturday and Sunday, all weekend be gone from maybe their sports stuff? No, I want to be, okay. So here's what I'd like you to do. This will get you to be motivated now, even though you don't have kids, knowing that you want that one day. I want you to write a letter to your future son or your future daughter. That's what I want you to do. And in that letter, you're gonna address the name that you might think you would name your son or daughter, okay? You're gonna address them and you're gonna apologize in that letter to them for not being around because you have to go do some sort of income generating activity called work when they wanna spend time, and all they wanna do is spend time with you. And then you're gonna hold that letter someplace where you know you're not gonna put it and bury it somewhere. You're gonna hold that letter and you're gonna have that letter ready to give to them when they're 8 years old. And he's like, wow. I go, yeah, wow. So if I were you, you're given the gift of time right now. You don't have those kids, but something you want. So if I were you, I'd be busting your tail 6, 7 days a week now because you could have the luxury of doing what you wanna do later when it's arguably more important, I would say. So all these things tie back into the why. It's why I mentioned those couple stories, right? There's unusual sacrifice for people who want to have something or have something that you see today that's unusually good. So I want to bring that. All right, goal setting. How do I do this? Now that you're in tune with your why, what is your goal setting? How should that work? What do I do? Where do I start? I'm gonna give you about 7 steps here. And I think if you don't have really a good framework for this is a good one, okay? Some of it's kind of obvious, but if you're gonna forget this later, then I would write it down, okay? But identify, you must take time to think about what they are. So identify. There's another good book by The Road Less Stupid by Keith Cunningham, okay? The Road Less Stupid. And you should read that book too if you get a chance, because in that book, the way he ends every chapter, I believe, it's every chapter, he ends it by saying, here's what I talked about for the whole chapter, blah, 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 blah. And he says, now go think, you will thank me later. And he talks about how he has a chair in his office. It's not the chair he sits in when he's at his computer. It's a chair over here, he just sits there, but it's his thinking chair. He literally gets up and walks like 3 paces over here and sits down in that chair because that's the one where the phone doesn't go with him to it. And he just thinks, okay, for a period of time. You gotta take time to think about what your goals are. Write them down or vision board. Okay, now I'll be honest with you guys, I haven't done a vision board personally in a few years. Our team has done vision boards and some of them think it's corny. And that's cool, right? But you should do it. You gotta be corny. There's this motivational speaker that I know Mike knows, but one thing that he always says is you gotta leave your egos at the door. You gotta check your egos at the door. Because when you're a kid, you don't care about that kind of stuff. You're not worried about someone thinking, looking at you thinking you look stupid when you're like, 6 or 5, right? It's something we learn later on in life. So you gotta write them down or do a vision board. Yes, you do a vision board. And you don't need magazines. You can go online and just print stuff off and cut that out and put it in your board too. But it's someplace you can see what it is you're working so hard to. Because guys, when you're making a business development call and the person tells you go fly a kite or pound sand, And you're like, oh man, it sucks. You look down, whatever, because it sucks. And no one wants to get rejected. No one really wants to get rejected. Then also you look over here and your vision board's right there. And whatever that thing is, you're like, okay, I got next one, right? Next rep.
Go for no.
Go for no. Go for no. That's a good point too. You ever read that? Go for no, that book? Okay. They gamify it in that book. And what they talk about, I'll just give you the cliff notes of it, right? What they talk about is this company that has a sales force of some type, they always found out and realized that every single year, the top salesman or woman was also the person who received the most rejection that year. So what they did was, the company, which is brilliant, they go, so what we're gonna do is we're not gonna hand out the award for the best salesperson, we're gonna hand out the award for the person who received the most rejection. Because everyone knows when that person goes over the stage, get the award, they also made the most money. So he says you can do things like take paper clips, whatever's at your desk, take pens, take nickels, pennies, whatever, and you literally can just, if you know your stats and it takes 10 rejections, to get one yes for an appointment, then as soon as someone says to go, F you, you go, okay, thanks, appreciate you, boom, hang up, and you just move that penny forward, or that paper clip. Now you have 9 left. I'm 9 closer to get that yes, right? And if you think about that, it messes with your mind into a positive, turns a no into a positive thing, right? Pretty cool. What are some potential challenges you see in the way? So for example, one of my goals, I'm hypothetically speaking here, one of my goals is to, have a date day with my daughter once a month or something, right? Okay. Challenges could be that things get in the way. Well, what get in the way? Well, if I don't hit my goals on the work side, then I have to do an open house. If I don't, block that time off and my calendar doesn't exist, things like that. There's all kinds of challenges that could exist for all kinds of goals, but you should be able to identify those as well. Set a deadline. This is important. Set a deadline, guys. And I'm gonna have an action item for you guys at the end of this class regarding that, but you have to set a deadline for when the goal will be done. You should have these goals figured out with the actual business plan well before December 1st, because it's too late at the beginning of December. It's too late. Sales cycle in real estate is 30 days in escrow. You're too late, right? And that's if you nail one on December 1st, you're too late, okay? So this timing of this class is really good. Prioritize them, very important. There are certain goals that are a little more important than others, and there's no judgment on it, right? Your fitness goal might not be as important as your income goal. Your income goal could be more important than your fitness goal. Your spiritual goal, whatever your goals are, prioritize them. And then by the way, with that, you gotta get your team on board. Now, team meaning like your spouse. Share the goals with your spouse so they can support you in what you're trying to do. And then you have to visualize them. I know this is crazy, but you have to visualize them. What would it be like if I had that car, man? That car is really sweet that I see driving around here. I want to get one of those. What would that be like if I actually had that? Can I see myself driving in that car? And you're crazy if you think that's not powerful. I mean, the highest level athletes do positive affirmations and visualization, right? I mean, you've got to visualize your goal. And that's why the vision board's so great. The vision board, because you can see that car you want right there if it's the car. Consistently review them or be reminded of them. So they can't be buried, guys. You have to put your goals somewhere where you can see it. Ideally, it stays in your bag if you're mobile between an office and a home office, or stays at your desk so you see it all the time. Some people put it on their bathroom mirror, okay? So they see it literally every day. But you have to do that. Your why has to be part of this, and you have to be reminded of those things. Next one here, identify your needs and wants. Okay, so we're gonna throw up a couple things on here that will besides just this PowerPoint here that we'll talk about. But develop a personal budget. Did I just lose half of you? That really sucks. I'm just telling you. Develop a personal budget. I teach a whole class on personal finance, and I love it. Like I love personal finance because it's fun. Number one, it actually is. Number two, it's easy. It's so easy to set up a budget. Following it is the hard part, but it's easy if you have some guardrails in the way. Must develop a personal budget, guys. You don't know, how do you know how much money you need to make if you don't have a way to direct it? And you can't direct a certain amount of money towards something you really want to do if you can't control what you spend on a monthly basis. You can't. But yet, I don't know, 98% of Americans probably don't have a personal budget. I like the Mint was a great one. It's gone, right? I used to use Mint, some of you guys, but I use Simplify now. That's what I use. It's a quicken product. You know, Rocket Mortgage is good for certain things. Right, not Rocket Mortgage, excuse me, Rocket Money it's called. That's not bad for certain things. You need a budget, YNAB, that's the other one's pretty good. So, what is your current income? This is where it starts. Like, what did you make last year? What are you year to date this year? You need to know those numbers, guys. And it's easy. Take your 1099. You can request it from your broker anytime, I'm sure. And it says, yep, year to date, here you are. Boom, gross commissions. Okay, talking gross commissions. What is that income? What do you want it to be for 2025? Okay, survival number. What is your current monthly expense you need in order to survive? Keyword, need. This is not like, oh, I want to make whatever. No, like if I don't make X, then I based my current lifestyle, I cannot pay the bills. Or I'll be negative every year, which means you can't pay the bills because eventually that's gonna, right? That'll be bankruptcy, right? What do I need? That's what you should be, you should be sold out for this number, guys. That's a survival number. But what is it? Some of you guys, if you don't have a budget, it's hard to know what that is. You can guess. I'm telling you right now, I do this exercise with people on my team, and I'm telling you right now, they always say, yeah, I know what it is. Okay, cool, what is it? Oh, it's my budget, it's, or it's my number, it's, you know, like $6,000. Okay, cool, let's dive into that. And you're like, what? Yeah, I got 5 minutes to dive into that. What's your rent? What's your mortgage? And they're like, and then by the time I get to like the 5th thing, and there's like 12 things, they're already over $6,000. But they think it's $6,000. It's not. You got to put it on paper and really think about what you spend. Your utilities, average those out, whatever it is, right? There's so many things you can do. What is the gap? What are the monthly costs of the things you want to accomplish this year? Want. Now you're talking your vision board, because on your vision board, you shouldn't have any survival stuff. That's your survival stuff. You need those stuff. You need your toothpaste to brush your teeth, right? You need your electricity to, you know, power your house, whatever, okay? This starts where it starts to get a little more fun. This is your vision board stuff. What are the monthly costs now to those things? You want that, I don't know, that BMW, whatever, SUV? What is that? Well, I don't know, it's probably about 100K. No. What is it? You can go to Google real quick and find out. You know, whatever year you want. Boom, there it is, about $120,000. Okay, cool. If I go to a car calculator real quick, amortization loan calculator, and I put in, you know, 60 months at 7% or whatever, that's my payment, approximately. That's what it is. Cool. Now my survival number is 5K. That car's gonna cost me $1,400 a month, whatever. Now I'm at $7,400. Can I make that? I don't know. Can you? That's part of the business planning that we're gonna get to, okay? What is the gap, positive or negative? Because there's some people right now, guys, I'm not saying in this room, but there's some people right now that are walking around that they do this right here, they're gonna go, uh-oh, the survival's bigger, they're living on credit card debt, survival's bigger most months than the actual number they bring in on income, even with their side hustle. Driving an Uber, don't do that, but drive an Uber, okay? All that stuff's a distraction. Be all in on real estate. That's the only way to do it, I'm telling you. What is your average commission check? Need to know this. What is your average commission check? Whether you're on a team, there's a split, a brokerage has probably some sort of split. What is your average commission check? Well, I don't know, no, what did you do for the last 12 months? Average that out, divide it, that's your number. Okay, but I want to focus on luxury next year. Cool, that'll be for next year, and you better have some actionable items on how you're gonna do that. But for now, it's X, put it there, okay? How many deals per month needed to close? Very important, transaction count matters based upon your average price point, average commission check, okay? How many deals need to write? Ooh, some of y'all forgot about that one. There is a fallout rate. We all know that. Been in real estate for 3 minutes, you know there's a fallout rate. So you might write 10 deals, but only 8 will actually close. When we say write, I mean like you're actually writing a contract, right? That may or may not get accepted. And if it does get accepted, it may or may not close because of inspection items or whatever it may be, right? There is a fallout rate that all of us do have. Now you create your business plan. You must have a budget. You could attend a separate class on personal finance. I just mentioned that. I highly recommend that if that's something new, okay? Because having a budget is foundational, guys. It's so boring, everyone glosses over that because it's not fun, but you need to have a budget. This is where it starts, okay? And you could have a lot more things. By the way, I'd recommend having more than this, more line items. You don't want too much to be in the miscellaneous. You really don't, okay? You wanna know what it is that you're spending money on. So let's just say, in this example, but let's just say this is the deal, okay? All these things, you guys see it, and then you get your personal expenses. Then you have to add taxes, right? Unfortunately, we have these things called taxes we got to pay in America, and so you got to add, you know, roughly 25%. It could be less, could be more. Your whatever your tax bracket is. So then you have your personal expenses monthly total of $5,063. That's the survival number, and then the annual amount is $60,750 in this example. If you're on a team, you may not have that many business expenses. Okay, so for this example, we put the royalty and the cap, we put somewhere else. There's no other office fees. We put somewhere else in here, so we don't have to worry about in this example, because this is not gonna be part of this, okay? And you'll see why. But car payment and gas, $300, okay, because that should be a write-off for you. Marketing and advertising. Now, every team's different. Our team, we provide pretty much all of that, but there still are some things that the agent might want to like do on their own, right? Which is totally cool. They're more than welcome to do all that. So put a couple $100 for marketing and advertising a month on something that they want to do that's really specific to their business and their niche. Insurance, other business expenses, whatever, right? Could be some other things, $100. So your business expenses month total is $600. I apologize. Your survival number is that plus that. So it's $67,950 for the year. That's your survival number. So you know going into 2025, if this was your plan, you have to make $67,950, otherwise you're gonna be living on credit card debt, which is not cool. Closings needed to survive. So the average net income per closing, let's say it was $63.75. That's the average check of this agent, let's say, okay, per deal. Needed to survive monthly, 1, survive annually, 11. But here's the fun part. Closings needed to thrive. Annual income goal, 100K. Their survival number was $67,950. So what's left? $32,000. This is the additional income because they hit their goal. They business plan for 100K. They hit their goal. And so now they have 32 grand left over. You got to take the taxes out. Let's say an example, you got $24,000 of extra income. So what do I want to do with that extra $24,000? Well, just made up some things, right? This is literally made up. This is not his thing, but you can do whatever you want to do. But his first house, let's say, he wants to save out of the 24 grand, he wants to save 9 of it towards a down payment. Wants to go on a vacation or 2 or 3, whatever you can squeeze out, $3,000 in this example. Housekeeper, maybe he wants to do some tithing or giving, $3,000. In this example, you come down here, you put down your stuff, the remainder of extra income, you still have $7,000 left to play for the year, $7,000 left to play with. So that's awesome. Now, Simon Sinek will tell you that if you don't know what you're gonna do with this money, you won't earn it. If you hit 100K, you'll be by luck. Okay? Because you never were in tune with your why deep enough to ensure that you hit 100K. Why? Because your financial thermostat, $67,000. That's why. That's your survival number. And that's what most people do in this business. But if you're sold out to the goal, and it will be hard, how important are those things to you that you put right here? Is that first house important? It's not gonna happen by, well, maybe, Kelly, I could maybe go to Silverleaf and get lucky and just, find some really rich client. And yeah, that could happen. That's what's great about real estate. But that's your plan? That's not a good plan, all right? So that is the budgeting part of this. Evaluating your 2024 business performance. Year-end projections. Some of this is a little bit of a repeat, but gather total income earned. Review total transactions closed. Access your average transaction price. Were there any seasonal fluctuations or trends? Those are things that you really want to make sure you dial in and figure out some way, somehow. Evaluating the 24 again, business sources and top 3 sources. This is gonna be very important for you guys. Business sources, these are just some. You could have different ones, you could have more, you could have less. But you need to know where your business came from. This is what everyone says they want to be at. And that's what everyone should be striving for. That's the why. Why? Because I'll give you an example. This is just what it is, guys. This 19 years, and I can honestly tell you, everyone in here, since 2016, every year, and I wasn't even aware of this till about 3 years ago. Every year, I personally, through just past clients, have closed between 50 and 59 transactions every year. 21, I did actually a little bit more because it's 21. Everybody got luck, just got a lot of luck there, right? But I don't work leads. I don't compete with any of the agents on a team. I just pass clients and referrals. And that is really cool because once I realized that, I was like, man, the business is pretty predictable. As long as I just do a couple basic things, like be around, post on social media a couple times, throw a client event once a year, twice a year, I can expect 50 to 59 transactions closing every year because it's happening. I have a track record now. It just happened. I didn't know I wasn't planning for that. I didn't know how to plan for that. I didn't have one of these workshops to go to or whatever. So that's pretty cool. And that's what everyone should be striving to do, to get to the point where your business becomes predictable, and it becomes predictable based on your size of your database. And did you know that the stats will tell you that for every single person in your database that has gone through some sort of pretty decent qualification process? Does that mean they sold a house or you sold them a house? No. Somebody's gone through a qualification process where you build good rapport, whether they buy a house from you or not. It's a 16.7% ratio, closing ratio, per how many people of those you have in the database. So for example, if you have 100 people in the database today that are your past clients, because if you did a good job on selling them a house, you probably built some good rapport. They probably like you, I imagine, most of the time, right? Or you have other people you brought into your world somehow, some way. You never sold them a house, but you went through some sort of good qualification process, right? If you have 100 of those people and you went through that process of staying in touch with them on a consistent basis for at least 1 year or longer, 16 transactions should come from that the following year, like clockwork. 16, that's a proven ratio, 16%. So if you want a predictable business of 100 closings, 10 closings, 20 closings, you just gotta figure out how many people need to go through that process. It takes time, right? Because you need those people to go through a whole year. And naturally 100 people probably won't go through on January 1st to January 1st, right? You're gonna get one on January 1st if you're lucky, and then you're gonna have a couple more in February and maybe March, right? So it's a ongoing, rolling number, right? But there's a way to segment that in your database so you make your business predictable. What are your top 3 sources for your leads? Why? Because that's where you spend your time. That's where you spend your energy, your money. So even if it is sphere of influence, which for all of us, it should be your top source, let's be honest, right? It should be. Then what's your plan around this? What's your plan around this? If it's online leads, what's your plan around that? What are you gonna spend? What's your 10 days of gain plan, right? To get them on the phone, take a dump or get off the pot. But they can't sit in your database and do nothing. So one or the other. Now, you are a CEO of your business, whether you like it or not. We use CTE. CTE is good, it's really good, but it's not like the best out there. I just pulled this off our CTE dashboard from 2021, you can see, because it's a good year. At the end of the year, that's what it was, right? But you can see one of the, literally like 62 dashboards it has source you input. So now then this source automatically flows into another dashboard and it breaks down line charts, bar graphs, whatever, of your top sources. So you can look dashboard, oh, my top 3 sources, bam, right there. But it's just a form. Fill your information. At the end of that day, you put in all your stuff and it flows right into the system. Now as an agent, if I want to know for business planning purposes for 2025, I know right now what my conversion ratio was between contacts and opportunities, between appointments held and listings signed. 14%, 73%. It just tells you right there. Why? Because you took the time as a CEO to put your numbers in every single day. So at the end of the year, you don't have to guess on your conversion ratios. That's the best thing about it, guys. The system already knows. Predictability, certainty. That's what this provides for you, okay? Which is awesome. Okay, it gets me jazzed up because dude, it's so, you can't tell me a CEO of Chase Bank doesn't know 3 or 4 main KPIs that he looks at every single probably day, or CEO of any company, pick it, Apple, whatever. They know and they're paid handsomely for it, but guys, we all can be paid handsomely in real estate too. So just because you're not the CEO of Apple doesn't mean, you may not make that much, let's be honest, but you get the point, right? You get paid handsomely for it, all right? GPS, all right? But this is something that you guys should all do. Guys, this is a 1-page business plan. Tom Ferry, Glover, you name the coaching organization, they're gonna have a business that's worth their salt. They're gonna have a business plan they can probably download maybe for free online. So you can do that too. Their business plans might be 11 pages, 12 pages, 20 pages. And that's not a bad thing at all. That's a good thing. Get really granular, a lot of things we're talking about. But if you just want a 1-pager that will set the tone for what you need to do, this is it. So for example, we put this up here last year, obviously. We have closed units, closed sales volume. Now, the GPS, let's explain this real quick. Goals, priorities, strategies. 1 goal for the year. Now, this one, because we're talking about residential real estate sales or commercial, whatever, just real estate sales, when you represent a buyer, seller, investor, should be an income number right here. I'm telling you right now, that should be an income number. If you try to do something else, it's gonna get confusing and kind of jacked up. I wouldn't even mess with it. Here's the cool thing. You can have multiple GPSs, 1-pagers. You can have a GPS for your fitness goals for 2025, for your savings goals, for your investment goals, for your family goal, whatever it is, you can do the same thing. It works for all of it, it's great. This is real estate sales. Priority number 1, what is it? Just to give you a little bit of context here, what I would do, because you got 3 priorities, I would choose some sort of lead generation lever, business development calls. That could be number 1. If you like calling. Now, I don't think anyone likes calling. I don't think anyone really likes calling people you don't know, but it is the most efficient tool. If you want to go from here to here faster, that's how you do it. Otherwise, it's just gonna take longer, right? Open houses as a lead generation lever. Door knocking, a social media strategy. And I mean like a strategy in which you're going to embrace and actually be consistent on. Social media. Networking events, client appreciation events, database systems to consistently keep in touch with your past clients and the people that you have a great rapport with. All these things are levers. There's a lot of them. Well, not that many, but there's a good amount of them. How are you going to run into people and let them know that you sell real estate? How are you going to do that? So for example, let's just go with me on this one. Let's say the first one was, you're like, you know what? I hate calling. I'm going to do it. If that's what you want to do and you want a good a book to kind of like get your mindset in the right frame, I know it sounds corny, but mindset's where it's at, guys. I'm telling you. Fanatical Prospecting by Jeb Blount, B-L-O-U-N-T. He's a sales trainer. He's not a real estate guy. And there's a lot of sales trainers, and I'm not saying there's a lot of other good ones too, don't get me wrong, but I'm just saying that book, for me personally, is a light bulb, because it sounds like by the title, you guys think you know exactly what it's about, prospecting, making calls, and it is. But it's about so much more than just that. And he's just straight to the point, man. He doesn't mince words in that book. So great. And he just talks about like, dude, hey, here's the deal. If you want to make X amount of money, then you have to be okay knowing you're going to call someone and interrupt their day and be okay with that, whether it's a positive or negative outcome. Or if you don't want to, that's fine. Just be resigned to be your local barista for the rest of your career. There's no third option. Now, if you want to say, well, I'm going to go on open houses instead, that's cool. Then the same thing would apply. Right? It's just you can't control how many people come in the house. You can control how many people you talk to if you're on the phone. That's what I chose to do earlier in my career. Okay, I love open houses too, but that's the deal, guys. Okay, so if it was business development calls, it's funny because like we call it prospecting, cold calling, lead generation, all stuff for years, and then our small commercial team, there's 2 brokers. I realized they do the same thing. I was like, oh, commercial people do the same thing. They call people they don't know and like get hung up on. Oh, weird. Okay, but you call it something different. She goes, yeah, they're both females, and she goes, yeah, we call it business development calls. I go, oh, I like that. I'm gonna tell it to the, we're gonna start calling business development calls because it sounds cooler. Like sounds you're calling a dentist business. I mean, what does it matter? You're still calling the dentist. He's just at his house, not working. Or you're talking about his house, not his practice or his building. See the mindset? Like it's just weird, right? Business development calls. But if that was one thing you want to do, example, would be your priority. Now, what are your 5 strategies, GPS, your 5 strategies to make this be successful? Because if this is successful, then your income goal will be hit. What are they? Well, it can't just be, I'm going to call expireds. Number 1. Number 2, I'm going to call for sell by owners. Number 3, I might call around the neighborhood for my open houses. That's not specific enough. That won't get the job done, guys. It literally has to be something like, number 1, I'm committing to calling expireds for 1 hour every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and 1 hour, 1 time a month on Saturdays. Like this lady told me a long time ago, 10 years ago plus, well, I don't know how long it goes, but she goes, do you lead generate on Saturdays? And I go, no, I don't know. And she goes, change your life. And I go, oh, okay. So I did it. And it's true. Like the pickup rate is so much better on Saturday mornings. I don't do that anymore, but I did, and it's true. So, but how bad do you want it? That's what it comes back to. Again, you can do open houses. You don't have to have phone calls. You can do social media, but you got to have a strategy around it. Got some more tools for you. Here's a good question. How do you know you have won your day? Does anybody have a metric for that or an answer for that? As a real estate professional, how do you know you won your day? Does anybody have a metric for that? If you don't, it's fine. I'm just curious. Now, whenever I ask that question to a group of agents, whether it's 3 people or 300, it's usually the same answer. No one really knows. Because I don't think anyone's ever really been taught this. I'll tell you the metric for us, because that's the big thing for me. I want every agent on our team to know how they won the day. Because I'm a football guy, guys, so I'll just give you the analogy. The crowd cheers the loudest when what happens in a football game? Usually, a touchdown. But yet, do touchdowns happen on every series? Do they happen every minute of the game? No. The game's still 4 quarters long. They don't. But yet, does the crowd still cheer for other things? Yeah, maybe a big hit, a sack, maybe a good run on first down to put you in position, a 6-yard run, good cheer, right? 2nd 4, manageable, whatever, right? These things. If the average agent in America only sells like 5 homes a year, right? But like, let's say you sold 24, which would be really good for an individual agent or even an agent on a team, really good, okay? There's 262 days, working days in the year. So that means there's only a touchdown 24, and by the way, you're a really good team if you're scoring 24 touchdowns, 24 out of the 262 days. So does that mean that the rest of the 240 days suck? Like you lost, you're a failure? No. And inherently you know that if you're doing some work, but how do you measure it? For us, it's knowing your number. So when you business plan, you have to know your number. When you go home at night and you put your head on the pillow, you can smile even though you didn't have a closing, you made no money, but you can smile because you won your day. You achieved your number. And if you achieve your number every single day, you will hit your income goal and have plenty of money in your account at the end of the year. Let's get into that. It's our 7-step process, okay? This is a simple spreadsheet that I built a while ago, but it's very effective, okay? Not as cool looking as the other one, okay, but it's very effective. This is our business planning template. So at the end of every year in November, sometimes late October, every agent goes through this to try to figure out what their goal is gonna be for the next year. So let's say you gotta make some assumptions. All you do is you put in your assumptions. 450, average commission, 2.5%, average team split. For this agent, let's say 60%. So most of their deals are getting 60% on. The average net check ends up being, based upon that price point, $67.50 per closing. So now, here is the 7-step process, okay? It's right there. So this is how you know you win your day. You start off by saying, okay, what's my goal? I want $100,000. Put that in. It automatically, okay, will calculate how many closings you need. I need 14.8. Now, obviously, you would round up in all of these. You always round up. 15 closings. So if I have 15 closings, how many listings do I need to get signed? By the way, we list buyers now too, especially now we list buyers more than ever because of the NAR lawsuit, right? So buyer broker is a listing for a buyer. They sign, yeah, I'm your guy. Now, if they sign to show one, to see one house, that doesn't count, right? Let's be honest. But you have a 6-month agreement on the buyer broker or something like that, where they're with you, that's a conversion. You have to have just 20.43. So I guess we can write down on that one. Just to be safe, I'd round up, just because why not? 21. So 21 listings signed for the whole year to make 100 grand. That's it. If your conversion ratios are these over here, then you have 34 appointments held, 48 appointments set, and number of contacts, about 2,500 contacts. Let's define these really quick. A contact for us, everyone kind of defines a little bit different. For us, a contact is anyone that an agent will speak to about real estate. Let's say they're going to make a business development call on a canceled listing and the person's having a really crappy day. And so they call them, hey, this is Jim. How you doing today? And they go, F you. Is that a contact? No, because the homeowner had no idea who are you? That's why it's a horrible script. That's what fanatical prospecting helps you out with too, right? You gotta make peace with the fact you're interrupting someone's day. It's okay. And they're either gonna participate or they're not, and that's okay either way. Move on. All right, so you call Jim now, you call the same guy back and you go, hey Jim, this is Kelly over here at Cook & Associates. Hey, we actually just saw that your property went off the market and we were curious did you happen to sell it privately? Or is it gonna be coming back on the market? I have a client who's a little interested in seeing it. Screw you. Is that a contact? In our book, because we're trying to keep it really simple, yes it is. Because you made your pitch. That's why you never, when you call someone, you never ask them how they are doing. You don't know them. They don't know you. Skip the pleasantries, they know it's fake. So then you get right to it, you tell them what you're there for, and they say screw you or not. So that's a contact. So you have to make 2,500 of those throughout the year, given your current conversion ratios, to hit $100,000 net in your pocket, all right, before taxes. This is all before taxes, of course, right? Okay, everyone's tax situation is different. So now we go to opportunities. Opportunities. So now, when you make a phone call, this 15%, okay? Make a phone call, what you are shooting for is a 15% pickup ratio. So if you make 100 phone calls, 15 people, hopefully they'll pick the phone up. You can't control that, but it's pretty doable, okay? 13% of these 15 you talk to should turn into opportunities. What's an opportunity? This is important, guys. An opportunity defined by us is anyone who gives you permission to follow up in the future and does not have a go-to realtor. That's it. They might be looking to sell, who knows when. Doesn't matter. Still an opportunity, because we know the average person moves about 5 point whatever years right now. It's not 7 anymore. Most likely the odds will tell you, the percentage will tell you that's not gonna happen. They're lying. They just don't know it yet. 375 opportunities, 13%. So when you talk to those 15 people, 13% of them will say, dude, I just bought my house 2 years ago. I'm good. It's not a nice guy, but I'm good, right? I'm not looking to go anywhere. Okay, cool. When it comes to buying selling real estate, who would you refer your business to? No one. I mean, the last agent I had just actually kind of sucked. Perfect. Love the opportunity, right? And you go in that script about your market snapshot, piece of value, blah, blah, blah. What's your best email? Yeah, it's jim@gmail.com. Okay, cool. Thanks, Jim. Listen, I'm going to send this to you within the next 5 minutes, and then I'll keep in touch. And I know you're not looking to move. I heard you loud and clear, but I'm going to keep in touch, and hopefully have a chance to maybe do business at some point in the future together. And then they go into CRM, and you have hopefully some sort of sequence that involves you manually doing a couple things too, not just all I'm in emails. That's not what we're talking about here, okay? To build a rapport. That's it, guys. You can't tell me if you talk to 100 people, because because maybe you dialed like, 500, 100. You can't tell me that you can't get 15 people out of 100 to say, yeah, sure, keep in touch. Anyone can do that. Your ratio probably is gonna be higher. These are very somewhat conservative percentages on the conversion ratios, okay? Then, out of all those people that said, sure, keep in touch, send me your thing, whatever, your market valuation you want to send me, or the market snapshot, or whatever you want to send me, that's cool, keep in touch. Then, out of all those people, when you are now working with them, trying to build rapport, out of the appointments held, 15% to opportunities, 13% to appointments held. So 48. So out of 375 people, you should have about 49 people that you're able to set appointments with. All you gotta do is set 4 appointments for the whole month to make 100K with average conversion ratios. Then now the ones that set, some people are gonna cancel on you. It's just gonna happen, right? No matter how good you are. We said 70% of these guys will actually be held out of the ones you set, okay? 3 will cancel out of 10. And then out of the ones that you actually hold, how many will you convert? We said 60%. Now these are all fillable, so you can change these out. So out of 10 listing appointments or buyer appointments that you hold, 6 of them will agree to work with you. 4 will not. They'll go with another agent or whatever it may be. That's 20 signed ERs or buyer brokers, 21. And then out of those, you have a fallout rate, 15 will actually close escrow. And those are your 15 deals. Now you need 748 opportunities for the year to make 200K. So let's take our calculator out and we go 748 divided by, I think there's 262 days, right? In the working year, 262. That's 2.85 round up. 3 is your number. That's how you know you won the day. 3 opportunities a day that you add to your database to make 200K for the year, if you're able to convert at these numbers. And then what we do is we always business plan, guys. We business plan for 48 weeks, but it's the agent's choice. Agents can choose a business plan for 44 weeks. Why? Because you're gonna go on vacation a little bit, you should, something, Flagstaff, something. And you're gonna probably get sick, right? Cold, the flu, whatever. And so you want a business plan for missing 4 weeks so that you're not behind if you get sick. Then you feel like guilty or feel like stressed, right? That won't help the situation. So now, hopefully that brings you to your new routine. We just talked about time blocking a little bit, I just mentioned it, but what does the perfect day look like for a real estate agent? What does it look like for you? That's the real question. That's the question I love all of you guys to sit on for a couple seconds here. What does your average day look like? If you're not where you want to be financially, if you're not making the money you want to make in real estate today, I guarantee you that looks terrible, not good. You're missing on your time blocking. You're missing on the things that are important, the prioritization of your goals, okay? Because it's easy to go out, and just not do it one day and go do something else. Weather's nice, right? Just go out there and I see so-and-so walking around with shorts and flip-flops. It looks like he's not working, so I guess I don't need to work either. Your goals might be different than his. And then, so this is 5 days, obviously. We just put some color codes in here and spelled Thursday wrong on purpose to make sure you guys are paying attention, okay? But we had green money time in the morning. So the perfect day should look, it's real simple, guys, for a real estate agent. Should be morning time money, right? 8 to noon. Could be 8:45, your choice, right? But 8 to noon-ish, okay? Then you have a little lunch in there. And if you can grab somebody to go eat lunch with, that's always good, okay? I'm kind of not that good about that one. I just power through it sometimes, so I'm not good at doing that, but I should do that more often. And then in the afternoon, you have other stuff, right? Like this is indirectly tied to income. Okay, so maybe a transaction task or 2, that sort of thing. Then here in the things that have to be done if you don't have a transaction coordinator, I highly recommend getting one if you do, because you shouldn't be doing that stuff. It'll just weigh you down, okay? And then blue was personal development, devote time to daily learning. That could be a lot, it could be reading a book, it could be researching stuff online to see what's going on with interest rates, whatever, right? Okay, it could be more lead follow-up. But the green time should be money time. So what happens is, guys, someone flies in from Chicago, they go, hey, I want to see some houses. And before the next word that comes out of an agent's mouth is, all right, cool, which houses, what time? Well, I just landed, I'm gonna go see right now, 9 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday, whatever. Or Thursday, could be one of those days. And then the agent goes, okay, cool, yeah, because you're excited. I get it. I'd be excited too. If somebody I was talking to for a while and said, I'm in town, I want to see some houses and they're a good price point, whatever, okay? But I'm not saying don't do it. The next question in your mouth shouldn't be, cool, what time, let's go. It should be, awesome, right? I'm up for this, let's get this done. What time would you want to go? I'm gonna go 9 o'clock. Okay, well, I do have an appointment right now that's gonna be over about noon with yourself, and I have the whole afternoon open. Do you have that open too? Guys, you know what happens 85% of the time when you say that right there? They say, oh, okay. If you don't believe me, please believe me. Just believe me on that one. doing this 19 years, and I promise you, that's what happens the majority of the time. Because we all get excited, like they say a time, we're just go, oh yeah, let's do it, right? They have names such as Jack in the Box Realtor, Pop-Tart Realtor, blah, 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 these cliches, right? I don't know about all that. But I'm just saying, protect your time as if it was an appointment with a $5 million listing in PV at 10:30 that you already had booked, right? Okay, now you shouldn't because you should be doing your green time. But if you did, same thing, treat it the same way, okay? So that's the question. What does it look like for you? What are these 4 boxes? What do they represent? I'm glad you guys asked, okay? This is good, guys, because you have to have a behavior change of some sort if you want to have a different outcome from where you're currently at in 2024, going into 2025. And so what most people will do is they'll start here and go down. Well, I'm gonna submit to you today, we should start down and go up, and here's why. Here's what happens. Number 1, what is my income goal for next year? Right here, at the bottom. Number 2, what is my transaction goal for the next year? Right there. Income transactions. Let me pretend there's an arrow right here, and it's a cycle. Okay? A lot of agents get into the business of going, well, if I do this many transactions, I'll hit this kind of income. Awesome, we're good. So as long as I do that to here, we're good. If you are only fueled by transactions to income, you will burn out pretty quick, okay? And I'll submit to you, you probably want to hit your income goal because nothing deeper behind it. There's nothing deeper behind it. Number 3, if I hit my income and transaction goal, what opportunities will it provide for me and my family? So up here, you'd write opportunities. If I hit my income goal, I had a certain amount of transaction counts, and then instead of going just right through here, now the circle gets bigger and it goes up through here, down and up through here, okay? And if you're following me on this, I think it's important because the opportunities are a lot of what fuels you to do why you do. This is the why part right here. What's your why? Why do you get up and do it every day? For those of you who said you want to do some business development calls, you're gonna have challenging days. And then that's gonna lead to the next day going, yeah, I don't know if I really want to do that again. But what's gonna fuel you to do it again? Because you have to. And you know the ones that do it again and do it again, are very successful, right? Time on task beats talent every day. Time on task beats talent every day, okay? What's gonna fuel you? Your opportunities. What are your opportunities? I don't know. What's on your vision board? What do you want to do with that excess money beyond your survival number that we just talked about? Where does it go? Buying that first house? Buying that first rental house? Helping your mom, buy a condo because, your mom sacrificed all those years for you and she's not doing well, or whatever it is, right? What's gonna fuel you? Your kids, right? There's a lot of things it could be. And that's why this is so important. And then I like to draw a line right here between the first box and the second box. And here you go. How do I become the best version of myself? What does my best life look like? Here's the sub questions. What does that look like? What behaviors, what habits, what current relationships need to change, and what new relationships need to grow? So you sit there and you picture 5 years from now, which seems like an eternity, but it's not. We just addressed how time slows down moving forward and it speeds up going back. What would that 5 years from now, what would that look like? What's it look like? Not the possession. That's right here. That's an opportunity. The nice BMW that you're gonna buy. What's that look like 5 years from now? To be the best version of yourself. And that's what you all need to walk away from today and spend some time in your thinking chair and ponder for a few minutes. What does that look like? As a guy, right, coming out of college, I heard this a couple times, we're in college, I guess, right? Hey man, if you want that good-looking girl who's popular and blah, 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 maybe it's high school, I don't know. You gotta become somebody that she actually was attracted to. You gotta up your game. Because if you're just a slob, in many different ways, why would some girl who everyone looks at as, has it all together, good-looking, popular, why would she want you? Why would she want to talk to you, go to dinner with you? She wouldn't, would she? No, she wouldn't. So who do you have to be? So what does that look like? Well, as a 17-year-old young man, I guess that's pretty easy, right? You can start visualizing, man, going to the gym, working out, getting nice clothes, whatever, right? Getting your hair done, I don't know, right? So, but why can't we do that when we're older in terms of the best person we become for where we're at today? What does that look like? Because when you cut this off right here, even the top producing agents, if you just fuel this, a lot of opportunities, cars, maybe a boat, okay? A couple rental houses right here. But then after 17 years, if you're not in tune with what that is, you're still gonna burn out. But if you're in tune with what this is, you'll be just fine. Why? Because it won't matter how many deals you close that year. If you're in tune with what this is, won't matter. Bad year, doesn't matter. Market goes to the tank, doesn't matter. Interest rates go to 12%, doesn't matter. And that segues perfectly to this slide, a life plan. This is a GPS. I know in order to hit your income goal, you need to have this stuff filled out too. This has to be in line, at least some of these. If one of these is out of whack a little bit, no one's perfect. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Course correct, best as you can. But some of these have to be in line for that professional goal to hit. Man, if you are not taking care of yourself, here's a health one, at all, you might be killing it at work, but how many times do you hear that story? A lot, right? The CEO did this right now, and then he dies of a heart attack when he's 58 because, and then by the way, his wife hates him. They know his kids are, we know the stories, right? But like these things, the problem is we all know it, we all hear it, makes sense, but we don't take the time to actually sit there and go, you know what? What's my goal for learning? Education. I'm gonna go outside the real estate space for a second. I want to get my master's degree. I want to stay within the real estate space, and I want to get my whatever, right? Broker's license. Whatever it is, right? I want to actually teach a class at Real Estate School of Business just because I enjoy doing it, right? And maybe I run a real estate team, and if I'm down there, an agent might say, hey, you seem pretty cool. Can I join your team? I don't know what I'm doing. Yeah, right? There's all kinds of reasons, but like you got to think about those GPSs for your life plan. So now what? One action item for today to do right now, I'm gonna ask you to do, okay? And I'll literally stop for 10, 15 seconds, okay? Is this. This is not hard. Pull your calendar and set a deadline for when your 2025 business plan, you can do your life plan later. I would suggest not to wait too long, but just your one-page business plan. What's your deadline? And write in your calendar right now, put the alert to remind you, you will commit to yourself today. That's the deadline. You're gonna have your 2025 business plan done. And guys, by the way, as long as you have it done, and then you get to mid-December and you're like, oh, I think I should want to change one of the priorities to a different priority. Perfect, do it. And by the way, can you have more than 3 priorities? Absolutely, you can have 4 priorities. Maybe you're gonna all in on just 2 lead levers and you're just gonna have 2 priorities. That's totally fine. It's up to you, it's your plan. And last but not least here, you must know your daily number. You must know how you win each day. Because that way you can have a smile on your face. That way it's not about time, it's about production. Time is a mechanism to keep a schedule, but if you hit it, it's in one of 2 ways, guys. You hit it early, you leave for the day and go hike Camelback and have a good old time, go to the pool, right? At the W, I don't know, is that even a thing anymore? Maybe it is, I don't know. Or, if this is the opposite, pack your dinner. Because on the same side, you leave early because you hit 3, that's your number, by 10:45 in the morning. If it gets to 6:30 p.m. and you haven't hit 3, guess what you need to do? Stay there until you hit it. And then some days you're gonna be like, well, I'll get 4 tomorrow. Okay, cool. But you better get 4 tomorrow, because I'm just telling you guys, I've been doing this a long time when it comes to like especially running a team. So I see agents have these big aspirations, and then it's just like fall, because it snowballs. It snowballs on them, and they don't correct it fast enough. And it's like, now it got to be just too big. And it's like, let's plan for 2026 now, right? We've all been there. It's funny, but it's kind of true, okay? Okay, last slide here, guys. I believe this is it. And a predictable business will help build multiple consistent. I strike the word passive because, passive's kind of like not really it's kind of a thing, but not really a thing. Consistent streams of income. I always, pretty much every class I teach, guys, I will always leave with something like this, because at the end of the day, I truly believe that every agent who's a business owner doesn't want to sell real estate forever. And there's only so real estate's a job. I asked agents on my team probably a year ago, okay, hey, who in here is doing their dream job? And we have, right, we have about, call it 20, plus or minus, about 20 agents, and one of them raised their hand. I said, that's cool, no judgment. I didn't raise mine. It's not my dream job, but what this does, because it's unlimited income potential as a JOB, it's a means to an end, because I'm very in tune with my why and what I'm trying to accomplish, what I want to accomplish. And so it's a great way to make income, as opposed to maybe, I don't know, working for the city of Scottsdale, doing it in the water department. I don't know. It's kind of capped, right? In terms of how much you can make. So I really be at some place where I can bet on myself and make more. But even then, I don't want to sell real estate when I'm 60, maybe even before that. I fully intend not to ever be selling real estate at all, period, the end. So how's that gonna work then? Well, as early as possible then, you should be taking your dollars and deploying them, right, to investments. Right? Your investment, people talk about soldiers, your dollars like a soldier, go out there and do some work, right? So there's only so many things you can invest in, guys. Residential, or not residential, but real estate in general, stocks, bonds, play the market, businesses, right? And pretty much everything else falls in those 3 umbrellas, all the different little categories, okay? Subcategories. So guys, so I asked you, what are you choosing to invest your money in today that you're making? I like residential real estate. And one of the reason I know the reason why most people don't do it, and here's why. I'm convinced of this, is because they look at one deal that I mean, by the way, if you find a deal at cash flows with, the minimum amount down right now in Phoenix, that's pretty good. That's like really good. So let's say you found one and it's $200 a month. I'm not gonna do that. It's only $200 a month. It's not worth the headache. That's why you don't do it. But the guy who owns one Burger King doesn't make a whole lot of money. The guy who owns 40, makes a lot of money. I know, because I know one. A buddy of mine owns like literally 60 Burger Kings, and he's ridiculous. He's filthy rich. You have to start somewhere, and then we know all the things, right? Depreciation and principal buy down and depreciation, and right, we know all the things that comes with it. But just get started doing one thing or another. That's what I would say, guys. So I just wrote a couple things out here, like what you can do. A predictable real estate business is consistent if you have a plan. Your why must be strong. Your system will be the engine that runs everything. Don't forget that, your system. So you have to have systems. This is not a class about systems, but you have to have a system or systems. The sale of your real estate business depends on how you structure the golden handoff. By the way, the fastest way to increase your database is to buy someone else's business. It's a great book. It's about how you would sell or maybe buy someone else's real estate book of business. Because guys, there's a lot of people probably getting ready to retire. I had a conversation. I didn't have an opportunity to buy this guy's business, but an agent I knew called me yesterday and asked me for my opinion on this. Because I've been close to buying 2 different books, never went through. So this is a real thing. People are like, this guy's moving to Texas. He's like, I want to be done. I want to be done. Like here, let's do this. And so this gal has a chance to do that, but it has to be the right thing, right? So that's a real thing you could do. Find other ancillary businesses, right? You can do, or find or fund. I guess either way, right? Honestly, that things you're dealing with. Buying whole rental property, big one. Okay. Revenue share from a real estate business, if you're in a model like that, it's always good. Or profit share, some of the brokers have profit share. And then this is it, guys, questions. So these are all my social media handles. But anybody have questions about anything or comments at all? Hopefully it's like not a depressing class.